now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Juice in the Morning. I know that I had kind of talked about Juice in the Morning being solely movies and television for the year of 2021, but every now and then you get a bonus episode out of us. And, this is something that, I'm with a guest today that I've known for probably a better part of 10 plus years. I'm not exactly sure how long we've known each other, Chad, but I remember we met at Ball State, kind of on the volleyball courts at University Estates. But with me today is Chad Justice. He's somebody that we've been friends with for a really long time. This is his first time doing the Juice in the Morning podcast. I know I've been doing it for 6 years, man. I'm glad to have you for the first time. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Should be an interesting show.
Yeah. So like I said, we met at University Estates. I know that we played a lot of volleyball, like a lot of hard fought battles. And then you and I you filled in for a flag football team for me. So I threw a couple touchdowns to you, and I was actually very shocked at how much athleticism you still had in the tank. So really just tell me kind of your sports background and what you've done over the years, my friend.
Man, I don't even know where to start.
What'd you play in high school?
So high school, I did a little bit of everything. Wrestled, played basketball, baseball, track, football. So ended up getting a scholarship to run the 110 meter high hurdles. So,
oh shit!
Went to college. I went to Vincennes. So started out at Vincennes there, and ran track for 3 years before transferring to Ball State, where, of course, I met you and your wife, Jen. So, Jen's, I think you know this, but Jen's actually my big sister in Phi Gamma Nu, our business fraternity.
Oh yeah, we went to the formal that I remember. Jen, before the formal, like a week or two before, is when we met, and we were both a lot bigger partiers than we are now. And she was pretty toasted, and she was like, "You're not going to want to go to the formal with me." And I was like, if I didn't want to go to the formal with you, I would have told you I'm not going, Jen. Like we would just get drunk and be like, one person would always be way more intoxicated than the other one. But real quick, back to the 110 hurdles. I got a pretty funny story about that.
Okay.
I played, I was always a 3-sport athlete. I played, the spring, fall, winter. I played all those sports throughout the year. And I was always a golfer in the spring. And then I got to be like a sophomore, junior in high school. I had gotten a lot more athletic. I'd really worked on all the stuff that I needed to do to become more athletic. And my coaches kept pushing me, like football coaches kept pushing me, saying, "Hey, you got to run track, man. You got to get you got to keep that training up. Golf, all you're doing is riding around in a cart with your friends and, smoking blunts and doing stupid shit. You need to be focused on being more athletic." So I was like, all right. So I went out for the track team, didn't have any idea what like event I should do, any of that kind of stuff. But the coach was my football coach. He also helped with track. And he was like, "Man, I think with your athleticism, man, I think you should do hurdles." And I was like, okay, all right, I'll fucking do it. And I went to a super small school. So it was like, if you wanted to do an event, you just got to do it. Like, it wasn't like you really trained really hard for that specific event.
Was it?
Eastern Hancock, small school east of Indianapolis.
I'm very familiar with Eastern Hancock. When's Shenandoah?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely a rival over there at Shenandoah.
Yep. Ran on your course a lot.
Oh yeah. But yeah, they, so anyways, so I'm like, all right, cool. And so we go to my very first day of track practice. We're starting to train and, we're doing all this stuff and I'm like dying, like, cause I had not done any kind of like exercise, anything since basketball had ended and that kind of stuff. So I was just like dead. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then they were like, okay, that was just the warm up. Now we're going to actually start practicing our events. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm already dead tired. Like, I'm not ready to go try the events. So anyways, I kind of just like, was real lazy about it. I kind of just floated around and did whatever I wanted. And it was more just to kind of chat and hang out with all my football buddies. And then, so I went to a few more practices, but my since my football coach was like the kind of assistant track coach, I wasn't like forced to go to practices. Like I just went to lifting weights after school, and then also like speed training in the morning for football. And then like I just showed up for the track events. And so I showed up to my first track event, and I'm supposed to be running the 100 or no, the there's not the 110. There's the one that's like more of the, is it
300?
300? Yeah.
Yeah, in high school it's 300.
Yeah, he had
Now
me
they
doing the
didn't
three.
tell you that before you go to college, and then they throw it. It's 400 in college.
Yeah, so I get the opportunity. He's like, "Hey man, I know you volunteered to do the hurdles. You want to do the 300 hurdles?" I was like, "Fuck it, yeah, I'll do the 300 hurdles." Never practiced hurdling ever in my life, so like I have no idea how to even do the move of like, hurdling over him.
Mm-hmm.
So I start running, and I'm picking up some speed, and I'm doing pretty well, and I'm kind of like hopping over him like somewhat okay, but then all of a sudden, like halfway through, I just lose all my endurance. Like I just am dead. So I just like start hopping like over them, like literally just running up and jumping, and like 2 feet jumping over them and running to the next one and jumping over because I was so tired. And I will also say I was probably out partying the night before too, before this Saturday track meet. And so like what's funny is a guy like ran over a hurdle. And so like he knocked it over, and like I think to avoid a penalty, he like ran back around and like hurdled it correctly. And that guy still beat me. I finished dead last. Like I watched that guy run over the hurdle, run back around, and then hurdle it correctly. And then I still lost to that guy. So that was my experience with running, track, and hurdles. Like I said, I showed up with all the track events and did all the stuff, but I was never very, I guess, what is it, valuable member to the team. Really, I just kind of showed up to hang out and jack around.
I can't say that's ever happened to me on the hurdles before, but I've definitely hit my fair share of hurdles.
Oh yeah.
So,
But so you said you did track, you
Yep.
were what, a 3-4 sport athlete through high school, and then you
Yep.
went to college to do track as well.
Yep.
So what we're really wanting to focus on and talk about in this live is baseball. So where did baseball kind of come into the mix, and how did that start with you?
Yeah, so baseball has actually probably been my favorite sport since I was a kid. So started in Little League, worked my way up, played through high school, Little League Babe Ruth systems. And then high school played a little bit as well. Ended up walking on, played 1 year at Vincennes before track coach nixed that. Basically, I got recruited by one coach, and he coached us for part of the first year, and then we got a new coach, and it kind of let us slide that freshman year. And then sophomore year came around. He's like, "Look, we're going to cut your scholarship if you continue to play baseball." So yeah, that was the end of my dreams there. Short lived, but ended up graduating. Transferred over to Ball State. Of course, didn't play there, but did play some intramural softball over there. That's kind of really where I got my taste for softball. Been playing that since graduation. Played in some leagues around here in Indy, and then played on a couple of travel clubs as well.
So this is just so for fun. Listeners and any viewers watching, like this isn't your like beer league softball. This isn't like your guys that go out there and can't run around the bases. They get the pinch runner. This is like serious softball. Like I know this exists because I've got friends that literally they train all year to play these travel leagues.
Yeah, it can be pretty serious. Of course, the beer leagues are fun. Definitely have taken advantage of that on Wednesday nights more than once. So, but was about two years ago, a buddy of mine reached out to me and asked me about playing baseball, and I'm like, baseball, like hardball, wood bat? They're like, yeah, hardball, wood bat, metal cleat. I'm like, well, shit, yeah. I was like, I've played baseball, since 2003, but yeah, I'll give it a go. So ended up getting that team you mentioned earlier, Claremont Bombers, ended up getting picked up on Gabe's team, played with them, been with that team for the last 2 years. And then actually added another league last year. So last year I played in 2 baseball leagues and kind of cut my softball out.
Yeah. How's the wife feel about the 2 leagues?
well, seeing how I cut a softball league on Wednesday night, it was kind of okay. She does give me a hard time from time to time, saying you play too much or
Oh,
you're
I'm
always
sure.
gone. And you just want to be away from me, this, that, and the other, which isn't the case.
That's the way that's the way the wives always
I
feel about
well,
any of our pursuits of greatness and excellence. I mean, that
yeah,
Jen
and
does
I
that to me
always
about the
invite her.
podcast.
She's always invited, but she's like, well, baseball's just so boring. You know, I can't watch, 3 hours of baseball. I was like, well, it's actually really fun. so, um, uh, so I was
If
like,
you see me keep turning my video off and on, it's because I'm trying to get this green BS to go away. So just so
absolutely.
that way, I hope it doesn't distract you too much. I apologize.
but, yeah, so I picked up, that league, and actually on that Wednesday night, we actually were league champions last year, for that. So that is the IBL, which is the Indiana Baseball League. And I played for the 35 over Dodgers. So we won the league championship that year. Still looking for our first championship with the Bombers and the HTA. Hopefully that'll come this year. Got really close last year, just couldn't quite do it in the tournament, lost in the semifinals.
Yeah.
So
So the team that we wanted to talk about today was the
yes.
Indy Heat. And
Yep.
how did this get formed? How did you get to be a
Yeah.
part of it? How did that
So
happen?
like I said, 2 years ago, I joined the Bombers. At the end of the year, what was that, 2019? At the end of the year, uh, some people reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to go to Columbus and play in the Capital City Classic, which is a 25 and over baseball tournament. I was like, yeah, absolutely, and loved it. I mean, it was a blast. Got our butts kicked, but granted, most of us were over 30
Yeah.
on our team. It was more like a 35 and over team playing 25 and over league.
Right.
But we had a blast. So a few of us, Gabe Cuevas and Paul Staton, who both play in both leagues with me, we kind of just sat down and was like, we're really interested in playing some tournaments around the country now that we got a little bit of taste to it
Yeah.
and we enjoy it. So well, they did, because I did get married last year. So we did play one tournament last year, and that was the NABA, which stands for the National Adult Baseball Association. We went down to Florida, Vieira Beach, and played in the World Series there. I didn't play because I was on my honeymoon at the time.
Yeah.
So kind of put a last minute team together to take down there. Some of those guys are back for 2021. And we are looking forward to actually having a really good year. So basically what we did is we've played with a lot of these guys in both leagues, and we know, what we're looking for and who we think we need to, be competitive in these leagues. And these are super competitive tournaments. I mean, the best of the best around the country. And we just started, going through the different rosters in the IBL and the HTA. And, we've come up with about 23 to 25 guys that we think are going to make a strong team, and help, show what Indiana's about in Indiana baseball.
Yeah. So what is like I would say, okay, no, actually, let me go back real quick. So how did COVID kind of come into play? Because I know that's not something that I really want to spend a whole lot of time talking about, because I
Right.
feel like I want us to get past it. But how did that
Yeah.
affect, the start of the seasons? How did that affect people playing? Was it something that you guys continued through, or is it something that kind of put a
Mhm.
pause on stuff?
Right. So it did push everything back. If you look at tournaments, which earlier in the year last year, we really weren't looking at tournament ball. That kind of came around the end of last year, around October. So some of the tournaments were canceled. The Columbus tournament that I had previously talked to you about, that was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking at playing in that, so we weren't able to last year. But as far as the IBL and the HTA league, in the HTA, for those of you that are listening and are interested, is the Hoosier Town Ball Association. And they have a page as well. So does the IBL, the Indiana Baseball League. But it pushed our start dates back. Normally we start our IBL league, I believe, in May or June. I don't think we got started until closer to July.
Yeah.
We normally start um, the HTA league, I believe the first week or the first weekend of June. That got pushed back into July as well. So yeah, it affected us a little bit. We did play through. We did the leagues did come out with some rules to kind of, you know, with social distancing and
Right.
things of that nature. When you're not on the field, they wanted us to be, you know, 6 feet apart in the
Right.
dugouts, things of that nature. Not sharing helmets, you know, drinking water or Gatorade or whatever you brought,
Right.
not from, you know, somebody's big Gatorade bucket
Yeah.
or something like that. So yeah, they there was some things they put into it, but we got through the, you know, the year fairly unscathed. So it was still a good time.
So you said, and you've mentioned earlier, many players have played like collegiately or minor league baseball. Who would you say has kind of the most experience, I guess, in the teams that you play on? Like, is there somebody that you look at as like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this guy's a stud? Is it you? Is it other
I
people? You know,
I
do
would
some
like
name
to
dropping
say
right
it
now.
was me. I would like to say it was me, but unfortunately, I can't. I will say that I hold my own.
You
You
got
know.
a big bat over there. You think you taking people a yard over here in the HTA and the IBL?
Not yet. The plans for this year are a little different than the past. Yeah, so we've been definitely working
Yeah.
towards bat speed and being able to hit the ball harder this year. But no, we got some people in both leagues that you know, have made their way through college. Were very successful there, and then, you know, got drafted and went played minor leagues. We got one pitcher that we see quite often in the HTA, plays for Plainfield. He is a member of the Heat. His name's Will Glenn. Um, Probably mid 40s, still throws gas. It's probably about 85, 86 miles an
Damn.
hour, which is pretty tough to hit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he's going to be pitching for us on the Heat. We look forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do on the national stage again. He's been out of the minors for more than a few years now. So, we've also got some other solid players in that league as well. Um, uh, the IBL's got quite a bit bigger league. It's been
Mhm.
around since the 90s. You know,
Okay.
HTA has been around for about 8 or 9 years, I believe. So it's developed itself a little bit more. So yeah, there are more players there, more to choose from. We got some former minor league ball players in that league as well. Actually, on my Dodgers team, Zach Wheeler's brother plays for us.
Okay.
So he's a former Yankee draftee,
That's
and
awesome.
he can still sling it a little bit too. So fun watching him take the mound.
Yeah.
It's usually a pretty quick game as well. So, but yeah, we've got some you know, some very talented ball players on the team as far as the Heat goes, but also the league. You know, even other ball players that don't play necessarily for the Heat as well.
Right. So I haven't tried to hit a baseball probably since fucking 8 years old or something like that in a fast
Yeah.
pitch league or something like that. So one question that just kind of popped into my head when we were talking about batting and things like that and bat speed. So when you are seeing somebody that's throwing that hard and you're trying to hit a baseball, is it about timing or are you actually seeing the ball? Like how does that work really?
Well, if you play enough, yeah, it's about timing. If I'm facing a guy who I know is throwing heat, usually if I know I'm looking for a specific pitch, I'm committing to that pitch before the ball's actually thrown.
Right.
You know, so if I think a fastball's coming, you know, I'm going to try and get ahead of it so I can
Mhm.
put solid contact on it. You're going to see the pitch, you just don't see it very long. So
Yeah, like
there are a couple techniques.
that's what turned me off so much about baseball when I was a kid because for some reason I don't think I could figure out that timing. And you know, there's a couple of sports that I just really wasn't all in on as a kid because, like I said, I'm a very competitive person. I'm really into just all sports, but baseball, man, was tough because when I was real little, you know, I wasn't part of the coach's team. Like, you know, I wasn't, you know, that into it. So like I would sit out in the outfield and pick grass and put it in my hat, throw it in the air, that kind of thing. And then as I got older, you know, I didn't actually hit like athleticism until I was probably already in high school. And then the guys wanted me to play baseball, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it, because all I remembered was the negative aspects of it. So I'm always curious about how that works. And I haven't been to like a batting cage or anything in years. Like, I don't even remember. I mean, the last time I swung a baseball bat or just a softball bat was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I filled in on like a Wednesday night in a beer league type softball thing. And, you know, I realized also how I feel like different running bases is than being fast. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know, like, cause when you're running the base, like I always thought that I still had some wheels, and then I was running the bases and all the guys in the beer league were like, we thought you would be a lot faster. And I was like, I thought I'd be a lot faster too. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
But,
Age catches you fast.
yeah. So when you're out there, like, what's your style of game? Like, in what position do you play? Kind of tell us about that. Tell us about the actual gameplay.
Yeah. So I'm a center fielder. So I play primarily center field. I can play all outfield positions. I can play infield as well.
I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna beat around the bush for the listeners and maybe even the viewers. Like, Chad's got wheels. Like, I was very shocked that this old man that I've been joking with about being older than us for so long, I threw him a pass in the flag football, and like he ran it down. I thought I overthrew him. So he's got some wheels. So you're playing center field, and you said you can play multiple positions. Where's your favorite place?
Yeah, center field. Yeah, that's my natural position. Like you said, you know, I can still move a little bit for being 37 years old. So I like to put myself in a position to where I've got the most room to be able to cover ground, and of course that's center field. So I play a very aggressive style game, usually either lead off or hitting second in the lineup, and I like to steal. I think the last 2 years I've led the league in steals. So
hell yeah.
So yeah, I like, you know, it also helps the team. You know, you move up, you get off first base. So yeah, I play very aggressive. You know, kind of a faster game. So that's my style. Not everybody else is different, of course, but you always play to your strength. That's my strength is my speed. So that's how I play.
I also wanted to shout out just Chris Duncan from Highly Inappropriate is in the chat. He said he wants to see the HGH league, which is kind of coming from like the Pat McAfee side of things, where Pat McAfee says let him do all the steroids. He wants the baseball to be that way. And then he also said chess, not checkers, go by the count, when he was talking about hitting pitches. And I guess that makes sense from what you were talking about, getting ahead of the pitch and making a choice before the pitch. What feels better, making a great catch at center field or hitting something, or even like or stealing a base?
Yeah, so that's funny you brought this up, because I've actually discussed this with teammates before. So hitting a home run, you know, that's like the mecca of baseball.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You know, that's what everybody grades everything on. Me personally, I would rather have an outfield assist over a home run any day, which I've done pretty well for in the past, you know, catching a ball in the outfield, center field, and throwing down that third baseman trying to get home.
Nice.
You know, I had a couple of those last year, and you just get it gets the juices flowing, man. You get pumped. You do something like that as an outfielder. Now everybody's different. For me personally, that's the highlight of my game, is being able to throw someone out at home. But you know, home runs are fun too.
Yeah, and then Duncan said he thought you'd say gunning down someone trying to tag on you. I don't know what that means. Is that somebody tagging up and trying to go to the next base?
Yeah, basically what we just so
what we just
either
said.
Taking home or going to third from second.
Yeah.
So I still have a pretty nice arm, so I'm able to rifle the ball a little bit. So I kind of get a little giddy when I see someone, you know, trying to tag up, because I know
you can get them, huh? Okay, so then that kind of leads to kind of something that you kind of hinted on and talked about a little bit, but you said your guys' primary goal is to play in the national and the MSBL and the NABA tournaments, including the World Series at the end of the year. How does that happen? How does does it go based on record? Does it go based on like team clout, people that they think could be good?
Right. So really these tournaments are pay to play. So anybody can play in the tournament as long as they're paying what the fee, and the fee is not cheap. We'll
Right.
just say that. So one of the reasons why we've been searching for sponsors to help with the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we actually just sat down and wrote up our schedule. We are going to play 4 tournaments this year. First one we're looking at playing is in Atlantic City. It's the Atlantic City Memorial Weekend tournament. So we're planning on going there in May, I believe, April or May. I think it's May. Well, it's it's Memorial Day weekend, so yeah. So yeah, that's going to be the first tournament. Based off our HTA and our IBL schedules, that's going to be the only spring tournament we're going to be able to get in because our season starts and we play on weekends, which obviously rolls into our season.
Yeah.
So we're trying to play around it. Prior to our season starting, though, we are going to schedule a few exhibition games with some local semi-pro teams. One being the Jasper Reds. It's the nation's oldest semi-pro team in Jasper, Indiana. Played against them last year.
With it being the oldest team, it's got to have some draw for some good players, right?
Yeah. So their team is comprised of high school and college players. Basically, it's a showcase league. It's kids trying to get noticed and go into college or even semi-pros, or sorry, minor league ball.
Right.
But the Reds have been around since the 1800s, I believe, or the early 1900s. Last year, we got to play in, what's that stadium called? It's where they filmed In a League of Their Own with Tom Hanks.
Okay.
So one of the nicest outfields I've ever played in. Made a play out there and dove for a catch and felt like I dove on a trampoline. It was pretty awesome. But we'll be playing them this year. We're also looking at scheduling some games with the Lafayette Aviators, which is a semi-pro team out of Lafayette. They got a brand new stadium. So if you guys are in the area looking to check out some of their games, because it's supposed to be super nice. I've seen some of the pictures that have been done. Should be done soon, definitely before the season starts. Also looking at playing a series with the Kokomo Jackrabbits as well at their stadium there in Kokomo.
How many teams are in Indiana? This, like, you just named off 3. That's pretty decent size.
Those 3 teams are semi-pro, which means they're not a minor league program.
Okay.
Indiana does have a few minor league teams like the Indians. Everybody knows, of course. But we also have the Richmond Roosters. We've got the
Tin Caps in Fort Wayne.
Tin Caps in Fort Wayne. Yeah, I actually worked for them while I was in college selling tickets.
I went to one game. Jen and I lived there for 3 years, and it was like, I can't believe that we only went to one. We didn't even go to. They have a hockey team up there too. We didn't even go to a single one of those. Like we were just so lame. We were so lame when we lived in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, but we've got some semi-pro teams and then some minor league teams here in Indiana as well. But we're going to get those games scheduled, the exhibition games scheduled prior to the league starts. Get those in. That way we can get warmed up for league play. Play the leagues, and then we're going to get hot and heavy in our tournament schedule. We're going to finish the year with 3. We're looking at playing again in Columbus at the Capital City Classic. We're also looking at playing.
These exhibition games, you mentioned Kokomo. That's actually super close to me in Westfield, and Duncan and I from Highly Inappropriate, and then a couple of the other guys would probably be able to make it out there. Is that something that's like open to public for us to come out and watch?
Yeah, they'll sell tickets.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely have to come on Highly Inappropriate as well, so that we can kind of promote that and then try to get that group of people up there so that we can support you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it should make for a good time. It's a pretty good team from what I've heard. Kokomo is. So most of those guys are college players. Actually, all of them are. So they're playing in Big Ten schools. I mean, some pretty stout players. So we're going to try and keep up. We'll do our best.
For sure.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do well. Back to our schedule. To tail end, we're playing in the Labor Day weekend tournament that's held by the IBL here in Westfield. So over at Grant Park. Yep, they have a 25 and over tournament they try to host every year. Obviously, COVID
Yeah.
kind of ruined that last year for them, but
Yeah.
I have talked to the IBL president, and he is looking at setting that back up again this year. And then last term of the year, we plan on playing down in Florida in the World Series again, and hopefully have a little bit better showing this year.
That's awesome.
I think now that we have had plenty of time to put a pretty stacked team together, I think we'll do well if we don't win it.
Is there so when it comes to those tournaments, like are there, and not and then and just the game in general, how different is there, rules that are different, that kind of thing? Because I'll tell you a really quick story about my Wednesday night softball league. I hit my first, I think my first at bat, I flew out or something like that. Then my second at bat, I hit a home run, so I was like super stoked. Then my third at bat, there was like a certain amount of home runs you could hit, and I did not know this rule. So like I hit a second one, and I was like, oh, like so pumped. I was like, this is the best. Like I've never played well in softball ever in my life. And I was like celebrating and getting all excited. And the team was all pissed off at me because I just got them an out.
Yeah, you
so
got a DBO is what they call that.
So I didn't know that that was the rule. What are there any kind of rule changes or anything different with how you guys play baseball, or is it kind of the same? And how difficult is it if there are different rules?
It's not real different from the MLB. The only difference is that we can hit more than 9 people.
Okay.
In tournaments for the MSBL and NBA, we can hit 10, and there are unlimited position changes.
Okay.
So we stick pretty close to MLB rules, but for those small changes, we can do that.
What advantage does that give you to have more batters? I don't know anything about baseball.
Well, you know, if you the advantage is if you've got a 10th batter that's really really good, you bring him in as a DH.
Okay.
So if you've got a team that is as deep as ours is going to be this year, that would definitely be an advantage for a team like that. So one of the only, and there is one other rule, which is you can have a designated runner for injury prone or injury specific players who are playing the field. So we can, basically it's last batted out. Whoever made that last out can go run for someone if they can't run because of injury or whatever. Those are typically designated prior to the first pitch. Right. So the other manager knows as well.
Understands already. All right. So real quick, you'd also, once again, this is flowing really well. You've already touched on kind of like the tournaments being expensive and it being pay to play. And you were mentioning like sponsorships. What is, cause we had kind of shared notes back and forth before this podcast. What is Stinger Sports?
Yeah. So Stinger Sports is our uniform company.
Okay.
They are also one of our first sponsor. So they are helping us, with the cost of the uniforms and things of that nature, because obviously we got to field 25 guys, 2 pairs of pants, 2 jerseys, hats, everything else. So it gets pretty costly. But yeah, Stinger Sports is out of Elvira, New York. They've been around a long time. They do softball, apparel, as well as baseball and other sports as well. So we kind of came in contact with them last year with the Bombers, used them, and they did fantastic job, super high quality uniforms. And even
I saw the team picture, not to cut you off. I saw the team picture. They look fucking dope. Definitely send me the team picture, because I'll use that as like kind of the promotion when I post the links to the podcast.
Yeah, so we don't have a team picture for the Heat yet. I think
that's
referencing as the Bombers.
Yep.
So different team. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, when you have the team picture for the Stinger Sports, definitely share it with me so I can post that.
Yeah, that might be probably closer to tournament time. First tournament, which would be around Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day, right? Labor Day is coming around first, right?
Yeah, and you also said that you're working on more. If I was to know a business or something, somebody that wanted to do a sponsorship, how do they get into touch with you guys? How do they do that?
Yeah, so we have an email. It's theindyheat@gmail.com. You can reach us there, or you can go to our Facebook page, Indy Heat, and you can message us from there. Our email is also located on our Facebook page.
You said the Indy Heat at
gmail.com.
Because I'm going to
Yep.
post this in the comments of the Facebook feed as well, in case somebody runs across it.
Yeah, you can reach us out to us there if you're interested. We kind of our give back to that, because we don't want to be those people who just take everything and, you know, our sponsors are just left there twiddling their thumbs. But we want our sponsors to be able to take advantage of being a part of what the Indy Heat is. So we are going to carry a team banner with us to all of our games and tournaments, which will have them on there. We'll be taking pictures and posting those with that banner as well. But on top of that, we are offering the opportunity for us to also share and post those sponsors' Facebook ads and things like that on our social media site. That way that our fans are being able to see their posts, and, you know, if they're offering discounts, you know, via the Indy Heat, we're going to be able to give that to them as well.
Nice.
On top of that, the IBL and the HTA are also going to be in cahoots with us, as well as pushing some of our stuff. So a lot of the players and their families from the IBL and the HTA are also going to follow us. Our site has been up less than 30 days, I believe, and we've already got almost 500 follows. So
nice.
I plan on getting that up to, I'd like to have that over 1,000 before March.
Yeah, so follow the Indy Heat page on Facebook. Billy Owens in the chat said you need a team bus driver. So I'm sure you guys have that locked down already, but
Billy, we'll let you drive us anywhere, man. Billy's played with me with the Bombers the last couple of years. He's a good guy.
Nice. So when we were talking about traveling, so what's the travel situation like? Because you were mentioning all of these. I know there's a lot of Indiana teams, but what about the outside of the state, and how does that work?
Yeah, so mostly, so it's obviously going to be dependent upon where we're playing. So if we're playing in Columbus for the Capital City Classic, obviously we're just going to drive out there, get a hotel.
Yeah.
So because it's a 3-hour drive.
For sure.
Obviously Atlantic City is a little bit further, so that's going to be based off the players themselves, if they want to drive or if they want to fly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this is also going to be based off, you know, what we get in sponsorship too.
Right.
First thing we're trying to do is we're trying to pay for the tournaments. Second thing, uniforms. After that, if we have anything else, it'll go towards travel and lodging. Mm-hmm. So I have reached out to a couple of hotel chains trying to work on some type of group discounts for when we travel to New Jersey, or if we're going to Phoenix or Florida or wherever we go. So sponsorships definitely help.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
The less off the player's plate, the better.
Is there like I don't know if you want to dive into this, you could always just pass on this. Is there any kind of like limit on your sponsorship? Like could, you know, somebody offer a small amount of money, a large amount of money, that kind of thing? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to, there probably is a minimum. At some point, you got to put a minimum on there, because at that point, it doesn't make sense for us to use our resources and our time to post your stuff on our page. Yeah. It's your business if you're only going to give us, $100 or $150.
For
so
sure.
Our minimum, and there's not a maximum, but we would like at least our sponsors to be able to donate $500.
Right. Yeah. I was just curious because I was just hanging out with the highly inappropriate guys. I feel like every single time we talk to anybody that has any potential for advertising, we're like, hey, could you put our fucking logo on something? So I was just curious about that. So I'll talk to those guys. But from Claremont Bombers, I know you said that guy is that's a Facebook guy, but I don't remember the name that you said, but he also said,
Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe said Billy has wheels, definitely gives Chad a run for his money, just saying. And then Enrique Cuevas said Chad Michael is my hero. So we're getting some good interaction. Like Chad, I'm not going to lie, man. I'm actually pretty excited about having you on because there's a lot of interaction and a lot of people watching that. I was actually kind of shocked because typically we hover around double digit, viewers on the Facebook, and we've had double digit viewers the entire time. So, and a lot of the times we get below that when I do these by myself. So I appreciate you taking the time to do it. Another thing that I was thinking about when we were just chatting about the travel, do you have a favorite travel story? Anything that was crazy or anything that you feel like you can talk about? Maybe you can't talk about a lot of them, but is there anything specific that you can think of off the top of your head that was like, oh, this was a funny travel story?
I'm not sure. Man, you're really trying to test my memory.
Yeah, I put you on the spot with that one. It just popped into my head when we were talking about travel.
Yeah. Man, I I don't think I have any good ones off the top of my head right
Yeah.
now. Then again, I could try and think back to my college track days, but that it gets a little hazy.
It gets a little
Far.
dicey there. There's a statute of limitations on that. But no,
Yeah,
the reason I ask is because I feel like when you're traveling like that with, I'm sure you guys maybe travel together sometimes and that kind of thing. So I kind of like, when I think back on my sports days and the things that I did back in the day, like some of the best times were the travel, just because you were just jacking around doing stupid stuff and joking with each other. And I kind of miss that team aspect of the locker room, the guys talking and just kind of bullshitting about stuff. So how close would you say close would you say you and like your team is?
Well, so this is technically the first year the Heat's been together. So a lot of us haven't played with each other. Some of us have. The guys that I'd say we have played together pretty close. So there are, some guys that I play with on the Bombers that are also playing with the Heat. So the Bombers pretty tight knit group, really tight knit group. If I'd say that. My other team, the Dodgers, in the IBL, they've been playing together for a while now. I just joined that team last year, so I was kind of the outsider, but they're pretty tight knit too.
Nice.
So I would only assume that the Heat are going to gel just the same way. All the guys, for the most part, I know of by at least playing ball with them in the same league, and most of them are stand-up guys. So I don't think we're having issues there.
Any good nicknames?
Any good nicknames?
Because somebody posted, I feel like I can't remember whether it was a show or somebody. I just remember I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw somebody like posting. It was like, I can't remember who it was, but they posted like back in the day when somebody for an Indiana team did really well in the basketball tournament, and the guy was like, his name was like Jack the Bomb, something or whatever, and he was like a basketball player. So I was just curious if anybody had any nicknames that you guys thought were good.
I'm trying to think if I know of any that are on this team, but
because clearly, mine's Juice, and I stuck with that through high school because it started as like people thinking it pissed me off, and I didn't have any care about it one way or the other, and then it just stuck from there because they thought it made me pissed, and then everybody that I met ever since high school was like, "Oh, that's a cool nickname," and I was like, I kind of lived it. I lived it as like a alternate personality kind of thing.
Yeah, it's only fitting that you'd marry someone named Jen too.
I know, right? But yeah,
Snoop Dogg be proud.
You said Gabe from Claremont Bomber said Josh the Hulk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He likes to practice with his shirt off. The dude's got traps as size as my belly. he's a former football player.
He's a big dude.
So we're going to have to come up with one for our first baseman on the Heat, Derek Devon. I think he played at Florida State. The guy is a strong man.
Okay.
Like competition.
So he's a big dude, probably.
Yeah, he's like 6'6", 6'7", probably like 280 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah,
that is a big motherfucker.
the Hoosier Town Ball Association has an all-star game on Memorial Day weekend every year, and he was on my team last year, and he hit 2 homers in that game against all-star pitchers.
And then you've got Billy Owens chiming in again. He said El Anciano. I don't know what that is, but
let me scroll down and see.
I'm guessing that's a nickname.
I don't see it here. Let me click on this.
Chad Claremont Bomber's nickname is Rudy.
Yeah, that must be Gabe. He might be talking about Gabe. That's his brother. Mount Devon.
That's like actually a really good one. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that actually might stick because that is an accurate representation of Derek for sure.
I like that a lot.
Of a man, that's for sure.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, we need to get you to come on the Highly Inappropriate podcast. This was a lot of fun. I know zero about baseball, so you'll probably get your knowledge tested a little bit more by those guys because they're way more into the sports world. I mean, I love football. I love, watching sports, but I don't dive head first into it because there's only so much information you can fit into your brain. But they'll probably have a lot more good baseball related questions. But once again, man, just say the things that you want to kind of share out there so that people can finish this podcast with kind of like what your promotion is on where you want people to go, that kind of thing. And then we'll get out of here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely go give us a like and a follow on our Facebook page, the Indy Heat. If you know of any sponsor, anybody you think that would be possibly interested in partnering with us, send them to our page. They can shoot us an email at theindyheat@gmail.com. We're a 35 and over team, just trying to put Indiana on a map, so to speak, on the national level. So I think we're based off playing in these leagues. The players that we have pulled, we were lucky enough to be able to cherry pick who we wanted. We have a lot of talent, and I think we'll be able to really compete. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message on our page. One of us the administrators of the page will be happy to get back with you if you have any questions or if you possibly know of anyone that'd be able to, sponsor.
Yeah, for sure. And, like I said, I've got a few people in mind that I might just reach out to you just out of just being a buddy of yours. And we'll try to get this thing built up and try to get you guys going in the right direction, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. This was a hell of a podcast, man. It actually flowed really well. I mean, I don't know why I had any other thought because we've known each other for so long. But yeah, I think that this was a good one. So I'm excited to share this with people and hopefully people check you guys out and like and share the page. Also, if you're interested in sponsoring, and also if you want to go to the games, just hit us up and we'll get you. We'll let you guys know where they're going to be happening and that kind of stuff. So once again, Chad, also, thanks, man.
One quick thing, also, if you're a local ball player or if you're even 18 and over and you thought you hung up your cleats and you want to get back into the game, check out the Indiana Baseball League or the Hoosier Town Ball Association. Both of them are very, very well represented leagues, and they've got a spot for everybody. The IBL has a 18 and over, 25 and over, 35 and over, and 45 and over leagues. And then the HTA is a 30 and over league. So if you're interested, reach out. You can find them on Facebook as well. And then you never know, maybe we'll be giving you a call in a year or two, asking you to come join the Heat and play down in Florida with us.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks again, Chad. You have a great night, man. Have a great weekend, and let's get together whenever you're free. I know you're going to be really busy, but we got to get onto the golf course this spring and summer.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
All right.
See ya.